I think something I really wanted to be careful about with writing this song was I didn't want it to be like about the boy, because it's not. It's about, you know, these two women and their sexuality and the connection that they have and the sort of like, I think that this would be better for both of us kind of thing. We're not going to spend time talking about why this guy isn't treating you right. All that we need to focus on is that we could do this better. You deserve better. That's the bottom line. I had just finished my mini tour the night before, and I got into the studio with my brand new producer at the time, Evan. We'd been talking back and forth for a couple months, and I was trying to develop this sort of like new sound that I really didn't have a name for. And we sat down to write what was going to be, or so we thought, what was going to be my EP. And it was the very first song that we sat down to write, and I started telling this wild story that I had experienced in New York that sounds almost within the context of a song like a pretty normal experience, but because of the surrounding circumstances, it really was a very wild, true account of something that I never thought was going to happen, hence the opening first verse. And also it's just a sort of a retelling of my experience of growing up queer and like wanting better things for the women that I loved so much and worshipped so much. I can't believe we're finally alone. I can't believe I almost went home. What are the chances? Everyone's dancing and he's not with you. You know, a lot of songs are written off of like ideas or sort of like what would happen if this happened, but because this was a real life experience, it wrote itself so quickly that it was just like that first verse was like like it was also, I had like many journal entries and poems about it already. It just pieced itself together like a Tetris puzzle, especially because this is a queer anthem. I really enjoyed the idea as a listener that it is a song that could be written by anyone about anyone for the most part. The universe must have defined this. What am I gonna do? Not grab your wrist. So the pre-chorus came from the fact that I actually grabbed her wrist. That happened. Just very lightly, I was like, hey, just catching her eye. And then the night proceeded from there. I could be a better boyfriend than him. I could do the shit that he never did. Up all night, I won't quit. So much of it is what happened that night, but also so much of it is like growing up queer, like listening to my peer girls be like, why won't he never, and like he meant my birthday, he forgets my mom, he never speaks to my friend, like, and it was like basic shit where I was like, babes, you don't need a fucking handbook to get this right. Like, it was making me feel like I was on a different planet listening to these women speak about how poorly they were just little things that are obvious boyfriend things. I was like, I could do boyfriend better. It's not difficult. I'm gonna steal you from him, and I could be such a gentleman. Plus, you know, my clothes would fit. The kind of sexy, like, clothes would fit idea is that sort of like mirroring, like, same. Like, it's not just about clothes. It's also like, maybe we fit. Maybe this makes more sense than what either of us have been doing. I don't need to tell you twice all the ways you can't suffice. If I could give you some advice, I would leave with me tonight. The universe must have defined this. Ladies first, baby, I insist. Well, it's like a triple, it's like a triple entendre. It's obviously like ladies first, I insist. It's like, it's a very gentlemanly line. It's something very like, I put you first, baby. It's also, it's a sexual innuendo, obviously. It's also like, I would treasure you. I would treat you so well. I would worship you, which is something that like I always feel is severely lacking in these relationships with these near goddess women that I know, and they deserve more. And I might be able to do that. I to your phone. Never would have left you alone for someone else to take you home. Ga, 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 ga. Well, it actually came from the original conversation about the unlikelihood of me and this girl being in the same place at the same time. It's just like a moment of like empathy for her. Because also that's the thing too, is it's like this woman is not an object, she's a human being. And I just really wanted to highlight, like, you know, before we get back into like someone else is taking you home, like I wanted to highlight that like you deserve more and you should have it. Naturally, the listener is going to think I'm talking about a guy, naturally, because, you know, we're still in a world where we assume that every song is a heteronormative song for the most part. I love it that you don't know what you're listening to until you hear it. And it was really important to me as a queer anthem. You know, we're invested in this, we're rooting for these women by the end of the song.